Welcome back to WESM, News Broadcast Television Station. And now it's time for our entertainment segment. Tonight, we are very fortunate here at WESM to bring you an exclusive interview with two very exciting actors who are making a very exciting film indeed, Mr. George C. Scott and Mr. Peter Sellers. We will attempt to get them on the line now and find out a little bit more about this film. Let's see here. Yes, Mr. Scott, it's very nice to be talking with you. Thank you for taking this time out.
Thank you. It's very pleasant to talk to you.
Yes. Now, you've gotten somewhat of a niche for playing villains. Why do you suppose that is?
I'm a sinister fellow. No, it so happens that, as luck would have it, I've been cast in a number of parts which have, let us say, distinguished me as a sinister person.
Yes, but what is it about George C. Scott that makes a casting director think sinister?
I suppose it's because the face. It's, my wife describes it as a relief map of Afghanistan. Sort of not the pretty type, I guess.
Now, Mr. Scott, is there a secret for creating a somewhat successful film career? I mean, you've done not only films, but television, extensive stage work, and directing. What is the secret? I mean, how do you succeed?
Well, in a career that has lasted about 14 years, I was fortunate or unfortunate enough not to hit what we call the big time until about 5 years ago. Consequently, I've done about a film a year since that time. Tried to be a little selective and have been very lucky to work with good people in good films.
Now, where are we speaking to you from right now, Mr. Scott?
Well, we're here at Shepperton Studios, just outside London, where we finished Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, with Peter Sellers.
Well, at the risk of understatement, that is a very unique title.
Yes, it is. It's a unique film, and one that I think is going to be controversial and provocative.
Now, Mr. Scott, what is the upside to fame? I mean, obviously popularity, there's certain amounts of money involved.
Money means a great deal. Money's a marvelous thing to have. It's a dreadful thing to be without. It's nice to work and get paid for it, and get paid a lot for it if you can. It's also nice, if you can, to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't have an opportunity to, perhaps, to do. Certainly, an example, playing before 2,300 people in Central Park, a live audience, under the stars, is an interesting and rewarding experience. I think it's a shame that more actors can't have it.
Now, George, if I may call you George, do you think you have a hit on your hands?
As I say, I think it's going to be one of the talked about pictures, not just of this year, but of many years to come.
And finally, Mr. Scott, do you have a smile you can show the home viewers? Please.
Yes, I just happen to have one on me. Here you are.
Ah, I knew it. Thank you. George C. Scott, everyone. And now I believe we have Peter Sellers on the line. Yes. Mr. Sellers, could you tell us the title of the film which you are currently working on?
Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Is that your American accent?
Well, no, this is my ordinary accent. I always talk like this, you know.
Well, you'll pardon me, but it can be quite confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, once again working with Stanley Kubrick, once again playing multiple parts, just as you did in Lolita, correct?
Well, the thing is, in Lolita, they weren't really three different parts. They were Claire Quilty impersonating different people.
And in this film?
Well, when I play the President of the United States of America, that is this makeup I have on here, I play Dr. Strangelove. He is a German nuclear physicist. And I play a British Royal Air Force, do they call it, officer, Group Captain Mandrake.
Mr. Sellers, I was interested in perhaps a demonstration of your English dialects.
Well, what sort of English would you like? I mean, would you like the sounds around London, or the sounds around the up north or south? Or?
All over.
See, well, if you want to talk about London, you've got to start over around here with the old cockney, see? I'll give you a bit of the old griff on that, and it's all down to like and very nice. Now, so I don't know, they won't understand a word I'm talking about, obviously, on this show. But then from there we go, you see more of a London accent, which is something like that, you know, which is not quite so. And then we, in quite a different sort of thing, you know, when you go out of the area and you get into more the slightly intellectual approach to life. And then you get slightly more, you know, when you get that type of slightly pimply individuals who have that mode of talking like that. Then, of course, we have the other sorts, you know, who live in around London. And there's another part of London, they talk like that. It's very nice, lovely. You go out of London, as you go to Scotland, there's two types of accents. Well, there's many types of accents in Scotland. One is Glasgow accent and there's Edinburgh accent, which is much more of this way, you know, the Edinburgh talk. You know, and then we've Birmingham accents. The one that's, I think, nearest to American accent is where they talk down in Cornwall and Devonshire, which is much more of a burr, and they talk very much like that. And, you know, it could be, you know, as a radio commentator over here called John Arlott, and I reckon sometimes that you could really, I think, mistake him for one or two of the American commentators, you know.
Yeah. Now, you got your first big notices as a member of the Goon Show.
Yeah, at the Princess Theatre in Pocatello, East Finchley.
Good old days, huh?
They were, yeah.
You were a child performer, correct?
Yes, I started, well, I mean, I didn't start when I was so young, but I was sort of in the business from a pretty early age.
And you plan to keep on acting, yes?
Well, I don't know. You never know how far you'll go, you know. Could all end tomorrow, could all go on. You never know with this business. It was one of the good things about it, because you're really not sure all the time.
Now, who's working with you behind the scenes on Dr. Strangelove?
Yes, it was produced by Stanley Kubrick, with whom I did Lolita, and of whom I have very high regard.
Now, Mr. Sellers, do you have any upcoming films that you recommend?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. You can see this one we got here.
This one we've got here. Very modest indeed. Thank you, Mr. Sellers. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Peter Sellers from Shepperton Studios in London. This is Michael Kelly signing off for WESM, Washington, D.C. Have a pleasant evening.